Hi guys, welcome again to our weekly webinars. I'm Maria from Classtime. I'm here with Valentin. Hi
Hello.
Val.
Hi.
Thanks for joining me today. Today we'll have a special webinar completely focused on introducing and answering your questions about our new integration with Google Classroom. So let's start.
Perfect.
Awesome. So we already have the first question from Ala. Which Classtime features integrate with Google Classroom?
Yes, fantastic. And I think this is a great introduction. So let me quickly share my screen. Here we go. So the new Google Classroom integration does mainly two things. One thing is that when you've set up a class in Google Classroom, like here in this case, I have my list of students, you can now import all of those students into Classtime instead of creating a class manually and then inviting them via email. So if you've done this process of onboarding your students into a Google Classroom or your school did it for you, all you need to do now is import your class with one click. And the second thing that it does for you is that when you have a session, right, and you have data, let me look for something. And let's say, yeah, why not? Here, this one. Let me see. Didn't prepare anything, but no worries. Here, this doesn't, just an example. Thursday trivia, right?
Yeah.
And you invite your class. You can now select your Google Classroom next to ordinary, non-Google Classroom classes. And when you invite them, all your students will be pre-populated. And also, after they've answered your questions, you can then export all grades straight into Google Classroom, where they will then appear in, classwork. For example, here, this is an example that I did, your assignment. You'll see the grades, the total scores be pushed back into Google Classroom. So it synchronizes your class students, and it also synchronizes the final scores per student across both platforms. And one thing I actually did forget to say is that when you invite your class in Classtime, it also creates an assignment in Google Classroom for you, right? So these are just, again, the three things that the Google Classroom integration can do for you. A, it will import your classes with one click. B, it will invite and create, it will create assignments and invite your students to a session on Classtime for you. And C, third, is that you can synchronize and export all end scores straight back into Google Classroom.
Google Classroom. Okay, awesome. Enrique from Mexico asks, if I integrate Classtime with Google Classroom, will I always have to use both together? It's a good question.
Yeah, so the integration makes sense if you want to use both together, right? But in short, you don't have to use both together. So what you could do theoretically is you could just import your class once so that you have them set up, and then that's it, right? You don't have to use Google Classroom necessarily anymore. You can also, of course, continue to use Google Classroom with other types like Google Docs, whatever. That doesn't impact your Google Classroom experience. And you can also just use, a session. You can invite your students to a session via Google Classroom, like here again. This already has a student, but doesn't matter. I can invite my class, right? And then if I don't want to synchronize and push back my scores into Google Classroom, I don't have to. So in short, no, you don't have to, but there are a lot of advantages to using both in parallel, right? So Classtime really will help you, streamline your Google Classroom flow if you use Google Classroom.
Yeah, okay. Patricia from the US is asking, can I use the Google Classroom integration with the basic license?
Yes, so in this case, classes are a premium feature, right? So if you're on premium or on a school license or on a trial, then you can use it. But if you're on a basic plan, you cannot import from Google Classroom or create any classes as of now. However, all of your students can still join as many sessions as you'd like. They can use their Google accounts to log into your sessions. They can use nicknames. So that's all on the basic plan. But if you want to have the full integration, that's when you would need to be on premium or on a school license.
Okay. Belinda from Chile is asking, will my students receive 2 notifications via email from Google and from Classtime?
Yes.
when you invite them to a new class?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah.
So as of now, the answer is yes. So let's say, I have here like a multiplication math session that I've just started. And now I invite my class to Google Classroom. So let me quickly remove the banner so we have full view. Here, now I'm going to choose it. And yeah, I can see it's Google Classroom because of this icon here, which this one doesn't have, right? So this one's imported. And so now I'm going to invite them. And what this does is it sends out an email from Classtime to the students with a direct link to join the session so that students can then start answering the questions. Mm-hmm. And at the same time, it also creates a new assignment in Google Classroom. If you've activated emails in Google Classroom, it will also send an email from Google Classroom to the students. So they might get 2 emails. I think better, safe than sorry. But you can now then, once I refresh,
deactivate. Yeah.
Be able to see how, the session right now, you see how I created this, posted a new assignment, 3rd grade math. That's the one I just created. So if you go here and you look at it, you will see that students now have this direct link. And that's what they see. That's also what they see in their email. And they can click on it and immediately jump straight into answering. Oh, I didn't. I should try the session code. But I could then join myself. I'm not a student myself in this class. That's why I can't answer. That's why I got the warning, which is also an advantage of the classes integration, is that you don't get students to join with nicknames or accounts you don't want or any other students. Only if you're part of this class will you be able to answer and join the session and answer the questions. So in this case, what you just saw is I was blocked out because I am not myself a student in this class.
Yeah. Secure assessments.
Exactly.
Yeah. So Molly from the US, she's asking, are there other benefits with the Google Classroom integration if I'm on a school license? So the difference between...
Got it. So in terms of the Google Classroom integration, there's no difference. So if you're on Premium, you can import the classes, you can invite them, create assignments, and push back the scores, which I haven't actually shown here. Export. Now I can export them to Google Classroom, as you can see on my screen, right? This is the same for Premium and school licenses. There is the advantage for school licenses that you can invite co-teachers, right? So that is a school license feature. If your colleague is in the same organization, I can now add it. And then I can look here and I can, for example, add you, Maria, as my co-teacher. And now we are both co-teachers, but that is independent of the Google Classroom integration, but it also works with the Google Classroom integration. Just one important point, if you have co-teachers on Google Classroom, which is something you can also do, right? Add here co-teachers. This is not imported and integrated with Classtime. So if you do have co-teachers on Google Classroom and you want them to also be co-teachers on Classtime, then you're going to have to do this as a manual extra step as of now, just as I showed, to add that teacher to your class in Classtime. And then they will also be able to access all of your sessions that are invited by this class. So you now, Maria, could go into your account and see the same session dashboard as I'm presenting right now.
Got it. Okay, so the biggest difference is the co-teachers.
Absolutely. But again, this is independent of Google Classroom, but it also works with the integration.
Okay. Danielle from the Philippines is asking, what other LMSs will Classtime integrate with in the future? If
That's
you
a great
haven't already,
question.
Please.
Yeah, exactly. So a full integration as we did now with Google Classroom is the first time we did, so that you can really import, your classes, invite them, also on the other platform, in this case, Google Classroom, and then export and synchronize the grades on both platforms. So as we're seeing fantastic success with this and great feedback from teachers so far, we are highly likely or absolutely surely going to build more integrations with other platforms. I can't promise what exactly the next platform will be, but looking at the education space, it's very likely to be Microsoft Teams. And we intend to build further platform integrations in the future as well, because we just see how much more time it also saves and how nicely it fits into the flow of the teacher.
Yeah, we have a long list.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think that's all for today. Thanks, Val, for answering all the questions. Thanks to all of you who are here watching us in any channel that you are, so YouTube or Twitter or our Classtime community. If you're not on our Facebook community, please join us there too, and leave your question in one of our channels that probably you will be featuring in our next webinar too. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone, and have a great week.